We'll now introduce our guest of honor, the renowned poet and novelist Sir Ben Okri. Ben is a Nigerian-born poet, cultural activist, and author of 13 novels, including the Booker Prize-winning The Famished Road, the first in a trilogy, and Astonishing the Gods, which was selected as one of the BBC's 100 novels that shaped our world, as well as many collections of poetry, short stories, plays, and essays. His work has been translated into more than 28 languages. He is the Fellow of the Royal Society of Literature and has won numerous international prizes and holds several honorary doctorates. He was awarded an OBE in 2001 and a knighthood in 2023. So please give a warm welcome to Sir Ben Okri.
Good evening, everybody. And thank you, Arts Foundation, for asking me to be your guest of honor at this year's award ceremony. I am honored and delighted to be here. Before continuing, I wish to salute the conveners of the Art Foundation and congratulate you on the invaluable work that you do. I also want to celebrate all the artists who are here today for the powerful and fascinating work that you do. The world is heaving with wars and division. Every day, the outrageous seems normal. We sort of live on a diet of terrors and wonder about, a little stupefied by some of the events that passes for the news. Even what used to be called normal life is stitched with abnormalities. The Tao Te Ching says that when times are bad, heroes appear. But often they're not real heroes, just the mirror of itself that the times throws up. Many of these heroes are not to be trusted. They are cloaked in the turmoil of the age. Art never speaks more truthfully than during times of turbulence and crisis. That is when artists most come into their own. And this is not because they function as activists or that they deliberately address the immediate issues of their times, but because at their best, the works they make have nothing to do with the crisis and the turbulence. And for that reason, they take us to the forgotten essentials of life itself. I have infrequently thought that perhaps art speaks best when it is not trying to tell us anything. Sometimes the trying gets in the way of that which needs to come through, which is greater than deliberate effort, greater than the willed creations of the brain. That which wants to come through us is often the universal spirit speaking through time with the perspective of the spirit and with the higher truth emerging from the roots and source of the crisis. In that sense, art has a curious relationship with time and events. The value of art does not really exist in relation to when it was created. It is not always time-specific. If it were, most art would be defunct by now. It seems to me that art transports us to regions of consciousness that are anterior to contingent things. It takes us to an place. That is why staring at a Rembrandt self-portrait during times of personal crisis steadies you. Why contemplating Vermeer during the pandemic restores in you some mysterious faith in how things will turn out. Art does not have to be specific to our struggles, to be helpful to us in dealing with them. And this is because art is not about itself, but about us. It is what it does to us, what it opens up in us, that counts. An expert could draw our attention to a brushstroke that is barely visible to the naked eye and locate it as the source of a particular effect. But that is not why the work of art is important to us. Times change, wars rage, economies fall, the cost of living plummets, anxiety devours our days and nights, and we worry about our bank accounts and our children, our waistlines, and our looks. The generations come and go, but Vermeer's woman pouring milk from a jar will remain unchanged and yet ever changing. Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man will still be struggling with new forms of invisibility. The poetry of Silver Plath will still lacerate our minds, and the wild dancers of the rites of spring will be dancing still, but to new movements of the heart. We love the temporal in art, but it is what endures in it that speaks to us all the time, speaking to our wounds and our wonder, to our division and our humanity. Art speaks to what is broken in us as what is whole. Art is more generous than artists. Art, at its best, art is democratic. It speaks to friend and foe alike. It exists as a way of giving, and it always gives. It cannot help but give. Art is a giving without end. That's what's spiritual about it. Art is always pouring milk into our cups, pouring benedictions into our souls. And if it is an art that inclines towards disruption, that is what it will always give. Whatever the weather, or the mood, or the big or small events of the day. Art always radiates its essence, always pours out its light from its eternally self-sustaining source. But its source is triple. One aspect is in the artist, another is in the work and how it breathes in time. But the most important aspect is in us who look at it, who give it life and vitality with our eyes, our attention, our consciousness, our presence. Other than nature, nothing else gives us that constant magic. Art awakens, shakes, stirs, and inspires. Often it inspires in its own direction, but sometimes it inspires us into freedom. Studying a painting by Peter de Hoogh at the National Gallery showed me how to rewrite a novel that had been giving me trouble. It was a classical Dutch painting about the everyday. It showed a compound, and it made no attempt to beautify the backyard, with a door hanging off a broken hinge and a long broom leaning against a wall. It reminded me of life in Lagos and taught me an invaluable lesson about organizing chaos in reality in a way that was true to life and yet aesthetically satisfying. De Hoogh is the very opposite of Vermeer, whose depictions are highly organized. De Hoogh is life as I knew it, and it amazes me that rough truth could also be beautiful. The novel whose rewriting it inspired is called Dangerous Love, which many people consider their favorite among my works. Sometimes, though, art inspires us to deep methodology, altering our processes, compelling us to find new roads, new ways. Sometimes it guides us into turning things upside down, reversing our certainties, unpacking our frozen habits, unraveling our too furled up world. For me, though, the greatest lesson of art and its relevance to our times is that reality is not what we think it is. It is not fixed in stone. It is malleable. It is what we want it to be. And if it is how it appears to be now, that is only because we have not contested it, redreamed it, reconstituted it. We have not seen the other ways it can be. Art is a constant parable about life. It uses the illusion of itself to get us to challenge the illusion of reality. That's where our freedom lies, in art's most vulnerable place. And because of that mutual illusion of art and reality, we can use art to say anything. This brings me to the key things I want to say tonight. We are in dangerous times. We're in terminal times. Politically, environmentally, and in terms of justice, we are in some of the worst times. And yet, we are also in the magical mist of life. And yet, we have this miraculous gift and weapon of art. And art is a gift that works best if you use it for something greater than you. No one owes you for this gift. Society doesn't owe you. The desire to make art, to create, is yours only. The world is not necessarily here to sustain you in the making of art. You do it because you must, because it is as fundamental to you as breathing. You do it because of things you want to say that will not give you any peace till you have found the best and highest way to say it. You will be misunderstood. You may struggle to pay your bills. Not everyone who wants to make art will succeed. But it depends on how you measure success. To my mind, you can't really measure success till after we're all dead. Do we create art to make a splash in society, to be the talk of the town? Or do we make art because we want to change the world? Because we want to plant a supernal beauty in the hearts of our fellow human beings? Or because we want to raise awkward questions about the world we live in? It is possible to succeed and at the same time to fail incredibly. But it is also possible to fail and yet to succeed immeasurably. Do not internalize anyone else's idea of success but your own. You must define what success means to you. And you must define the nature and meaning of your journey. Don't let anyone else define it for you. Because most people are clever about their own lives, but stupid when it comes to judging and measuring the lives of others. How do we know what someone is aiming for? How can we measure someone else's dreams by the standards of our own lives? For many people, success is driving a flashy car. For me, success is living truly, writing well each day. For many, success is selling millions of copies. I'd like that too. But for me, success is writing a book that will last as long as bronze or gold, to paraphrase Pushkin. Scott Fitzgerald died of failure, and every year his works become more inevitable. We all know the legend of Mozart. No need to rehearse it here. Nietzsche, before madness fell on him, thought he had failed. His books were not selling, and his ideas made no impact on his times. But after his death, that changed. And now it is impossible to imagine a time when his provocative thoughts did not shake society. Our life is but a moment in the wind. You blink, and you're 70. And you wonder where your life went and what it means. But if you have been steadfast in your art, humble in the daily application of yourself, never confused by the illusion of success, and never disheartened by the great teacher that is failure, if you have invested your time in the strange garden of your art, if you have managed to live with love in your spirit and fought in some way for justice and used your voice to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, if you have woven a little beauty into the half purgatory, half paradise that is this life, if you have dreamt and evolved, ventured a little in the realm of the spiritual, then no matter what your outward life looks like, you will be among the rare and truly fortunate ones of the earth. I'm not saying that art will save you or that it will transfigure your life. For finally, life is the greatest conundrum which our living must solve. Life is the real thing. And the art should be a key part of the magic of living. That is why I say art is a parable, a fable about life. Our art ought to teach us how to live better, just as our lives ought to inspire us to be greater artists. For art is the flower of life and one of its greatest justifications. Finally, we are what we make, what we give, what we inspire, what we love. I hope these awards inspire you all in your unprecedented journeys in becoming yourselves, in remaking yourselves, and enriching our world with your strange and powerful works. Please remember that it's not just about being an artist, but about the art of being a human being. Even in the outrages of our times, we can still plant beauty and meaning, protest, and a sense of justice in the fruitful earth of our age. To be an artist is to be a partner with reality. That's what art really teaches us. We are co-creators. So let's all help our portion of creation to turn out right. Bless you all.